Coming up on Citrus TV News Live at 6, some Syracuse businesses are still feeling the effects after the marshal forced them to move almost 2 years ago.
And protests across Syracuse find out why demonstrators gathered on the SU Quad and in downtown Syracuse today.
And how does SUNY ESF compare to top public universities in New York? All that and more. Citrus TV News starts right now.
This is Citrus TV News Live at 6, your campus news leader.
Construction began on the Marshall almost 2 years ago when businesses occupying the old building were asked to close their doors and leave. Good evening, I'm Gilat Melamed.
And I'm Zach Lang. Even though some of these businesses stayed in the Marshall Street area, construction has dragged long beyond the anticipated completion date.
Orange Crate Brewing Company is one of the places that stayed on University Hill, and Citrus TV reporter Anna Azallion is live outside the bar, which still operates despite the ongoing construction next door.
That's right, guys. The Orange Crate Brewing Company right behind me is currently surrounded by fences, and that is because of the construction on the new apartment complex right next door, the Marshall. Now, this bar, known to many SU students by its former name, Lucy's, used to be right where the Marshall is. That is, until the Marshall moved in. Now it's in a new spot right next door, and they tell me they've had some ups and downs because of the construction on the Marshall. They also say that there's still some issues that are affecting them.
On Marshall Street, there's a lot of businesses, but not a lot of parking. A bartender at Orange Crate, Christian Jackson, says this has always been a problem, but since the construction of the Marshall started, it's gotten worse.
And every time I drive down here, there's tons of cars that are right in front of me, and everyone's got their signal on, everyone's trying to get there, and it's you don't want to be mad because everyone's trying to park.
Jackson says she's been dealing with the parking around the bar since she interviewed for the position she now has. She even had to park on Walnut Avenue one night, which is an almost 10-minute walk from Orange Crate.
Over the summer of construction was kind of a nightmare during the summertime with traffic and people being able to get to the restaurant. The roads were closed.
Murator says although the construction has been a nightmare at times, things are getting better.
It kind of started out rough with the construction, and now that it's getting closer to completion, the kids are getting happy and people are coming back, and the traffic will obviously benefit us greatly. So,
Murator says when students were moving in, he noticed an increase in traffic. However, parking is one problem that doesn't seem to be going away.
They're building all this student housing, which when it's done is going to be amazing, but I feel that they should come up with some sort of parking situation too.
The Marshall does not currently offer parking to their residents, and one resident of the Marshall I spoke to hasn't moved in yet and says she isn't sure where she's going to park.
Now, I did reach out to the Marshall about the parking situation, but no one was available for comment. Reporting live on South Crouse Avenue, Anna Azallion, Citrus TV News.
Thanks, Anna. According to a 2019 ranking from Niche, SUNY ESF has been named the second best public university in the state. The ranking is based on reviews from students and alumni and an analysis of academic, financial, and student activity information gained from the U.S. Department of Education. SUNY Oswego also joined ESF on the list, ranking below the Environmental Studies School at number 20. The 16th annual Syracuse University Human Rights Film Festival begins tonight. The festival is kicking off with a showing of the movie The Sentence. The film's creator, Rudy Valdez, will also be visiting as part of the program. The film festival is part of SU's year-long Syracuse Symposium and goes with the idea of stories, which is the theme of this year's symposium.
Students gathered on the quad today to protest Brett Kavanaugh's Supreme Court nomination and to stand with sexual assault survivors. Leaders from the group Students Advocating Sexual Safety and Empowerment say the hashtag Cancel Kavanaugh event today was to tell Congress that they believe the nomination should not move forward in light of the recent sexual assault allegations. People were also protesting in downtown Syracuse. Crowds in front of the federal building chanted in support of sexual assault survivors, echoing the hashtag Time's Up movement that began in Hollywood earlier this year.
A former SUNY Upstate Medical University president's unauthorized pay raise habits may have been worse than previously thought. David Smith resigned in 2013 after raising his annual salary at the SUNY Research Foundation by more than $28,000. On Monday, he pleaded guilty to 3 charges of misconduct and 1 of misdemeanor in the Syracuse City Court. He will pay more than $245,000 in restitution. And Wegmans will soon be offering curbside pickup at local stores. The DeWitt and Taft Road locations marked on this map will provide the ability for customers to order groceries through the phone app Instacart. Curbside pickup removes delivery fees through the app, but the prices of groceries will cost more. There is a $10 minimum for pickup.
New tariffs placed by the U.S. government on goods imported from China took effect on Monday. The list of items impacted by the new taxes is nearly 200 pages long. CitrusTV reporter David Edelstein spoke with experts and local businesses to find out how consumers could be affected and when they might start seeing changes in the prices.
Syracuse University Food Services is following the steps of major corporations like Starbucks, taking steps to be more environmentally friendly. As of the start of this semester, Food Services has stopped providing straws in dining halls. I spoke to a director of Food Services, Mark Tewksbury, to see what sparked the change.
One of our staff members, whose husband works at the Onondaga County Resource Recovery Agency, told us that they were finding straws in our compost. So it kind of, due to that connection, we knew we were causing problems with the compost. We don't really need straws in the dining center, so we said, why not?
For students on campus that have conditions and need a straw, he says there are plenty of straws available for them. He says in his experience, however, few students truly need them.
And in my 38 years here at SU, I think we've encountered 5 students with a jaw wired shut, so we can handle it.
While SU Food Services may have had a few inspirations from Starbucks and Delta Airlines, they had a few helping hands from other universities as well.
Manager of both Ernie Davis and Shaw Dining Halls, Steve Brandt, says SU Food Services works with other universities to make necessary and environmental changes.
We're a member of the National Associations of College and University Food Services, NACOF with abbreviations.
Looking ahead, we can expect to see more efforts for Orange to go green.
And someday, as all the containers become available and do the job correctly, then we'll be able to make the switch fully. And we constantly look at it.
Tewksbury says we can expect to see some container changes for dining halls in the near future.
We recycle all our cans, our paper, our cardboard. We use LED lighting wherever we can. We try to turn on equipment when we need it and off when we don't. The list is huge.
Tewksbury says we can expect to see some container changes for dining halls in the near future. Landon Wexler, CitrusTV News.
Thanks, Landon.
Now, Gilat, I've started to notice a lot more sweaters, a couple more sweatshirts out on campus. Are you getting into that? Maybe some pumpkin spice lattes so far?
It does really feel like fall weather, although I'm going to hold on to iced coffee season for as long as I can. But Citrus TV weather reporter Carmella Boykin's here to tell me, is it a iced coffee day tomorrow or pumpkin spice latte day?
Thanks, Gilat. Well, looking at the weather outside right now, and as we saw throughout the morning, it was a little bit sunny. We saw some clouds slowly moving in as the day progressed. Right now outside we're at 61 degrees. It's cloudy, low wind speeds, so if you want to go out for a stroll, it's a nice day for that, but maybe you won't get that kind of Syracuse sunset vibe. As we move into tonight, we'll have showers throughout the night. We're going to reach a low of around 56 degrees. The rain will be sort of intermittent as we go throughout the night, so make sure that if you're headed out tonight that you bring an umbrella, because you could go in a building and it's not raining and then you come out and it's downpouring. These will start at around 11 p.m. And then as we look into tomorrow, starting at 9 a.m., we're going to be at 56 degrees, some clouds in the morning, and then as the day progresses, those clouds are going to clear up, sun's going to come out, and it's going to get nice and warm. So Gilat, if you want to bring out that iced coffee, that would be the perfect time to do it. 64 degrees around noon and then 66 degrees as we move into the night. Now, we may see some rain around the Syracuse area, but Zach, I heard in the Adirondacks it's kind of dry. What do you got for us?
That's right, Carmella, and in spite of the rain we had this week, the Adirondack drought will continue. The U.S. Drought Monitor's report this week says that drought status has not changed throughout the Adirondacks, while Tug Hill and the North Country have become drier. Everywhere highlighted on this map is currently experiencing a drought. This is expected to harm farmers in the region.
Yeah, Zach, and despite that Adirondack drought, floodwaters outside Binghamton ruined crops that were being harvested for the homeless. The water disintegrated the potatoes of farmer Philip Card. His potatoes were going to be donated to various charity organizations. Card has been giving his food to the homeless for 10 years. But last week's rain ruined his latest donation, and now Card says he may have to wait 2 years to grow new crops because of the pollutants that might have seeped into the soil.
The city of Niagara Falls is losing money from a local casino, but not from bad bets. The state of New York is paying the city of Niagara Falls $12.3 million to make up for lost revenue from the Seneca Niagara Resort and Casino. The Seneca Nation argues that a clause in the casino's contract no longer forces them to pay a share of their profits from slot machines. The case will have their first hearing in December.
Coming up after the break, details from Capitol Hill following Dr. Christine Blasey Ford and Judge Kavanaugh's testimonies, what was said and what it means for the Supreme Court nominee.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for information on how to provide even better care for the person who wants to care of you.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream. That I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly. Just to come back in a new disguise. And be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
You're watching Citrus TV News with Claudia Bellafato, Noah Wolf, and Jack Watson with weather.
President Trump postponed his meeting with Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein. He said this was so that Washington could focus on today's hearings surrounding Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh.
That's right, and Citrus TV political contributor Gabrielle Caracciolo is here in studio to fill us in on those hearings.
Well, thanks, guys. The much-anticipated hearing began this morning with Dr. Ford's testimony. She said that after learning Kavanaugh was on the short list of nominees, she felt it was her civic duty to let someone know.
With what degree of certainty do you believe Brett Kavanaugh assaulted you?
100%.
100%.
And now Judge Kavanaugh is still currently testifying before the committee. He said at the beginning of his testimony, he presented calendars as evidence showing that he was out of town or at other events on the majority of the weekends in the summer of 1982.
You may defeat me in the final vote, but you'll never get me to quit. Never.
So we just heard from Ford and we heard from Kavanaugh, but what have the senators been saying today about their testimonies?
Right, so the Republicans ceded the floor to Rachel Mitchell, who's a prosecutor familiar with sexual abuse and sexual assault cases. So they brought her in to do their questioning of Dr. Ford, and she questioned Ford for the Republicans, and then for the Democrats, they spent most of their time praising Ford for her bravery during her testimony. Right now, during Kavanaugh's, the Republicans are kind of doing that same thing, praising Kavanaugh for his accomplishments and apologizing to him for having to go through this, while the Democrats are kind of grilling him on the details of whether or not this actually happened.
All right, thanks so much, Gabrielle. We'll continue to monitor the hearing as it continues this evening. A Judiciary Committee vote is scheduled for tomorrow morning, so be sure to tune into a special webisode edition of Talking Points at 2 p.m. tomorrow for the latest.
Tensions between President Trump and China are on the rise. President Trump claimed last night that China is working to interfere in November's midterm elections, adding that China is trying to damage him politically.
The president offered little evidence on the allegation, but he suggests the meddling attempts came as punishment for the trade war Trump waged with Beijing. The trade war started earlier this week as the U.S. ordered a new round of tariffs on $200 billion worth of Chinese goods.
An Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressed the UN General Assembly this afternoon.
During his speech, he revealed a secret nuclear warehouse in the Iranian capital of Tehran. Israel claims the building still houses nuclear equipment, despite Iran's best attempt to clean it out.
Netanyahu asked for the International Atomic Energy Agency to investigate the site.
Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro says the U.S. and its allies are attempting to justify potential military intervention in Venezuela.
That's how he views a joint statement signed by 6 nations asking the UN to investigate possible crimes against humanity in the country. Maduro also said that he would be willing to meet with President Trump despite their, quote, enormous differences.
On Wednesday, a Trump administration official says no such meeting is set to take place.
A Mexican court sentenced a former state governor to 9 years in jail for money laundering.
Former governor of Veracruz, Javier Duarte, pled guilty to the crimes. Duarte is accused of trying to defraud taxpayers and using shell companies to launder public funds.
Duarte was additionally fined over 50,000 pesos and 40 of his properties were taken. Authorities arrested him in Guatemala in April of last year.
The deceased president of Vietnam was buried today in the capital of Hanoi.
Tran Dai Quan's coffin was carried through the streets of the city, followed by members of the military and top government officials.
Quang was 61 when he passed last week. He served as the president of Vietnam since 2016.
And coming up, Uber to pay a hefty price for data breaches. What happened and how they plan to fix it? Stay with us.
And Citrus TV weather anchor Carmella Boykin has your full weather forecast. Don't go away.
Looking for these? You drive buzzed. It could be one very expensive ride.
First, you gotta make bail. Then pay me to get your car back.
Your insurance premiums will go through the roof.
And my legal fees just keep adding up. All told, it could end up costing you $10,000.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
They said a bottle was just a bottle. That no one would ever notice me. But I knew I could be more. That one day, I would make people smile.
Breaking news coming out of the financial world, the Securities and Exchange Commission is suing Tesla CEO Elon Musk for fraud.
The SEC explains that Musk gave false and misleading statements when he tweeted in August that he was considering taking Tesla public. Shares for Tesla fell around 10% in response. And the ride-sharing company Uber is paying just shy of $150 million after regulators found that they covered up a 2016 data breach.
The settlement is being paid because of Uber's failure to release and report that the data had been lost.
The breach reportedly put data at risk from 57 million Uber users worldwide, along with driver's license information of 600,000 people.
From the Citrus TV Weather Center, this is SU's most accurate weather forecast.
And checking the weather across the New York State, temperatures are pretty consistent in the 60s, high 50s. So Syracuse is at 60 degrees, Cortland is at 58, Ithaca's at 62, and Elmira is dropping down to 58. So if you're leaving the general vicinity, you should have pretty consistent temperatures. And as we look at tonight, we're going to see some scattered showers. It's going to be nice and cool, perfect for if you want to bust out that pumpkin spice latte, get into those fall time feels. It's going to be mostly rainy, low of 56. And then as we take a look at our future radar for overnight, we're going to see it's clear skies right now, and then we're going to see a bunch of rain roll through, and then it's clear, and it's clear for tomorrow morning. And then as we check a look into tomorrow, it's going to be a high of 69 degrees. Some morning clouds, but as the clouds kind of go through, it's going to clear up. It's going to be nice, mostly sunny afternoon. Want to go apple picking? Perfect time for you to do that. And as we take a look at our 5-day forecast, we're going to see those really fall-looking temperatures this weekend, and then as we move into the week, it gets warmer. So starting on Friday, high of 69. Saturday, we're going to have some AM showers, not too nice of a day, so if you got some homework to catch up on, perfect time for you to do that, 61 degrees. Sunday is going to be partly cloudy if you want to get outside, and then as we move into Monday and Tuesday, it's definitely going to get warmer back into those summer temperatures with some rain on Monday and then scattered thunderstorms on Tuesday. That's all I have for the 5-day forecast, but Jackson, what's good in sports?
Well, Carmella, coming up,
How does SU star quarterback Eric Dungy feel about the team's confidence as the Orange heads to Death Valley? Plus, which former SU star is being honored by the ACC? Stick around.
This is the story of a boy who didn't talk for a long time. The boy liked things to always be the same. Any changes would scare and upset him. The unknown was an unfriendly place. The boy was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. He wasn't trying to be mean, it just made him feel uncomfortable. Sometimes he would flap his arms again and again.
One day, I found out I have something called autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I found my voice and learned all the ways I could live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
And now, your Citrus TV Sports
Welcome back to
Report.
Citrus TV News Live at 6. This season, Syracuse football has stepped up to each quiz and test that the squad has faced. But this Saturday, the Orange must be ready for a massive midterm. SU faces the squad's first road game since week 1 of the regular season, but a trip to Death Valley is a significant step up from Kalamazoo. Syracuse quarterback Eric Dungy knows the team needs to take it to a whole new level.
But you got to continue to feed them like baby food. You got to give them that baby food before they can start eating table food, and they'll eventually get it because they're all talented. It's just things are moving really fast out there for them.
Syracuse and Clemson take the field this Saturday at Death Valley and are slated as a 25.5-point underdog. But if the Orange shocks the nation once more, SU would be 5-0 for the first time since 1987 when the squad went undefeated with a trip to the Sugar Bowl. Speaking of the 1987 Sugar Bowl, Don McPherson has been selected to represent Syracuse University in the 2018 ACC Football Legends class. The SU star will be joined by 13 other ACC representatives for the festivities surrounding the Dr. Pepper ACC Football College Championship game on December 1st. McPherson was selected as a senior captain in 1987, where he led the Orange and was a consensus All-American, Maxwell Award winner, and finished a close second to Notre Dame wideout Tim Brown for the Heisman Trophy. The former quarterback was elected to the College Football Hall of Fame back in 2008. And after giving fans an emotional roller coaster last night that ended in disappointment in Tampa, the Bronx Bombers gave fans cardiologists the temporary day off as the squad mashed 4 homers to cruise to a 12-1 victory over the Rays. 2 of those home runs came off the bat of Giancarlo Stanton, who is now riding a 5-game hitting streak. With the win, the Yanks remain 2 games clear of the Athletics for home field advantage in the wild card. The A's are off tonight, but both squads are in action tomorrow night on the road. New York will be in Boston and Oakland in Anaheim. Back in New York, the Mets play host to the Braves tonight at Citi Field. The Metropolitans look to take Game 3 of the set from Atlanta tonight after splitting the first 2 games. But the Braves come in boasting the best record on the road in the National League this season, making the Mets' task all the more challenging. And it's Thursday night, so football is obviously on tap tonight here with a gladiator matchup in the LA Coliseum. The Los Angeles Rams are set to host the Vikings in a battle of 2 preseason NFL elite teams. So far, LA has lived up to the Hollywood hype with a record of 3-0 and the best margin of victory in the NFL by more than 20 points. However, Minnesota shellacked the Rams a season ago, holding the Rams to a season low single touchdown. And tomorrow, the 41st Ryder Cup tees off in France at Le Golf National, pitting the Team USA versus Team Europe. The matchups tomorrow feature a group of foursomes with many eyes expected to be following Tiger Woods, who's paired with Patrick Reed against Francisco Molinari and Tommy Fleetwood.
Now, Jackson, Syracuse beat Clemson last year, but I know Death Valley's a different animal. How do you like their chances this weekend, though?
Well, I know they're 25.5-point underdogs. I think they'll be within that range. I think they'll be under the 25.5 points. Win or loss, it's really hard to pick against Clemson and Death Valley. It's the third-ranked team in the country. They have the top-ranked quarterback in the country from the recruiting class a season ago. So I'll pick Clemson, but it's going to be a lot closer than I think the general consensus is.
Now let's go to the Ryder Cup. You mentioned watch Tiger Woods, obviously coming off that big win just about a week ago. But what are they pairing for U.S.? Do you think will do good in this tournament?
Well, I kind of like some of the top ones in the top. I like Brooks Koepka. I like him a lot, especially after he mashed the ball earlier all summer, really, from what we saw. His ability to drive the ball long, I like whatever team he's on.
And speaking of teams, what team do you like tonight in Thursday Night Football?
I like the Rams. It's hard not to pick them, especially at home against a Minnesota team that's really struggled to run the ball so far this year, and they were expected to have a ton of offense and a ton of defense this year, but they've been the bottom half of the league in both those statistics. Meanwhile, the Rams have the best offense in the league and the best defense.
All right.
Thanks, Jackson.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
I see you mobbing over her. Let's go. Let's mob. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, we mobbing. Come on, girl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl.
Taking a look at our 5-day forecast, over the weekend we've kind of got the best of both worlds going on. If you really like your pumpkin spice latte and warm kind of drinks, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday we're going to have some cooler temperatures, but moving into Monday and Tuesday, we're going to have some rain on both Monday and Tuesday, but it's going to be in the 70s, so you can bust out either your pumpkin spice latte or your iced pumpkin latte. And that's all I have with the 5-day forecast.
All right, thanks, Carmella. A kayaking trip gone wrong, or did it go completely right? We'll let you decide. So the kayakers were in the waters off the coast of New Zealand.
That's right, Gilat. And get this, a seal comes up to their boat and slaps an octopus onto the kayak. The sea animals are both still alive, according to the kayakers, thankfully. But what a bizarre turn. Jackson, who do you got, the guy or the octopus?
It's his natural habitat. The octopus is natural habitat. You have to take him in the water. On land, I'll give it to the man. But in the water, in his element, you have to go with the 8-tentacled figure.
Okay, but hear me out. What if the seal was the one who attacked the guy? Then who you got?
Well, that's a little bit tough. The octopus can hang on for dear life. It has the 8 tentacles. The ink is a danger X factor. The seal, it's a little bit dangerous with getting in the air, but overall
definitely a little
I got
dangerous. Thanks, Jackson. And that's all the time we have for Citrus TV News tonight. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at citrustvnews.com. I'm Gilat Melamed.
And I'm Zach Lang. Have a great night, Syracuse.